Hi, I'm Joni Patry, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Well, today I want to start a series where I'm going to be talking about the moon in all 12 signs, but not only specifically each sign, but even which nakshatra it's in. So I wanted to start today with talking about the moon in Aries. So if you have a moon in Aries, you are going to want to listen to this because it's going to give you explicit detail as to who you are and what you experience in life. Because the moon is one of the most important variables in a chart, because the moon really does tell you how you feel about things. Imagine that. That is giant to want to understand and know how you feel, what your outlook at the world really is. So depending on what sign your moon is in, it is monumental as to how you perceive this world. So with that, I'm going to start with Aries. And before I do, I want to make sure that you know that you can be receiving my free newsletter. Go to galacticcenter.org, get all of my predictions delivered to your email address. And while you're there, don't forget to check out my spiritual jewelry. And if you want to study Vedic astrology with me, go to my university website, which is University of Vedic Astrology.com. Okay, so with that, we're going to start with the moon sign Aries. If your moon is in Aries, it can be in one of three nakshatras. So if your moon is in the first 13 degrees, 20 minutes of Aries, then you have your moon not only in Aries, the sign Aries will give it the flavor, but the nakshatra will give it a deeper reference. Remember this, the nakshatras are so rich with meanings because they connect the planets to the stars. The 27 nakshatras are based on those 13-degree, 20-minute portions of the zodiac that are relative to the stars that are in that portion. This is so rich with meaning. So Aries is the sign of the initiator, the person who is not afraid to start new projects. They're considered the pioneers of the zodiac. And sometimes they can be so impulsive and impatient, they don't watch where they're going and they're in a hurry. So they're prone to having accidents. But for the most part, when we talk about Aries, they are the ones that have the courage to initiate things because they're in a hurry to get things done. And if your moon is between 0 degrees to 13 degrees, 20 minutes of Aries, your moon not only is in the sign of ambition, drive, it's a fire sign. Fire signs are just so inspirational. You know, they have a strong drive and inspiration. They're fiery. But this nakshatra, Ashwini, is the nakshatra that deals with travel. And actually it deals with having connections to healing powers, because the Ashwin Kumarans were the doctors or the healers of the gods. So many times they have a connection or desire to get into health, healing, do something with that variable. But let me tell you something else. It's considered the horsewoman. That's what Ashwini is about. And many times people that have this nakshatra strong are associated with horses, equestrian interests, things like that. Either, just being close to horses, they have a love of them, or racing, riding, anything that connects them to this horse, because its symbol is a horse's head. Another thing is because the horse travels, like I said, this is a nakshatra that people love traveling. They travel across the sky. This is someone who's like always on the go and always in a hurry. So I always say if you have your moon in Ashwini, you're never known to move slow. Everything you do is fast. I'm saying you probably have a lot of speeding tickets because you have a heavy foot on the accelerator. You need to go, and you need to go fast. That's what this is all about. And initiating new projects, not being afraid, pioneer, courage. This is Mars. Mars rules Aries, so that Martian quality of Mars comes out in terms of high energy. But in the sign of Aries, actually Aries is ruled by Mars. So this is all the Martian energy of ambition, drive, courage, and moving forward as fast as possible. The only problem with that is the impulsive impatience that is relative to the moon being in Aries, particularly in Ashwini. Ashwini is the nakshatra that deals with fast travel. Now, Ashwini is ruled by Ketu, and therefore this can have a very deep undercurrent of deepness and spirituality, because it is that nakshatra is ruled by Ketu. Ketu is the moksha karaka, dealing with spiritual liberation from this world. So there is an interest in spirituality with this nakshatra. And with the moon being here, that means you start out your whole life cycle in Ketu's Mahadasha. Because why? Wherever your natal moon is, what nakshatra it's in, the planet that rules that nakshatra starts your whole life cycles. So if your moon is in Ashwini, you started your life cycle out in Ketu, which usually is a difficult cycle. So starting out in Ketu's Mahadasha could have caused some great difficulty depending on where Ketu is in your chart. Now, if it is in a difficult house, such as the 8th or the 12th or the 6th, then usually a child born in this dasha, meaning a moon in Aries, Ashwini, can be sick when they first come into the world, or their parents are struggling in a very specific way, maybe financially, but it is difficult, I have to assure you. So if your moon is in Aries, but your moon happens to be between 13 degrees 20 minutes and 26 degrees 40 minutes of Aries, right in the middle of this fire sign Aries, your moon's in Aries, but the nakshatra your moon's in is Bharani. Bharani is the nakshatra, I call it, of major breakthroughs, new beginnings, the first to do something. If your moon is here, you are definitely the first to do something in your family of origin, maybe the first to graduate from college, the first to move to a foreign country. Bharani is the first to do things, and you are definitely ambitious, driven. Bharani does deal with healing as well. Many times I find that it can even deal with a doctor that delivers babies, because Bharani's symbol is the woman's uterus. And what the symbology is with this is the uterus is what the baby grows in. But when the baby grows to a point where there's no more room, guess what happens? Has to be born. So Bharani has this whole connotation about the birthing process, breakthroughs to when you outgrow an environment, you have to have a major breakthrough to a new environment. And people with the moon in Bharani, in Aries and Bharani, are going to have major breakthroughs in their life, but they have to go through this painful birthing process to get there. So they have many breakthroughs and changes and transformations that go on in their life. This is deep stuff. And realizations, this is like Aries, just having a moon in Aries is like this realization of inspiration and newness. And being in Bharani, there's this big breakthrough period of a new understanding. There's so much growth with this moon being in this area of the zodiac. Plus, Bharani is ruled by Venus, and Venus is a very beautiful nakshatra. This can bring beauty, grace, charm to the already forceful, dynamic, ambitious Martian type ruled nakshatras. So Venus and Mars are strong indicators or sort of like definitions of this placement for a moon. So someone feels deeply, they're about newness, new beginnings, new exciting ventures. That's where someone goes through with this fiery essence of a moon in Aries, but being in the nakshatra Bharani. And that would mean that you start out your life in Venus's dasha. And that, depending on how your Venus is, can be usually a good thing. Venus is a natural benefic. So this would be much easier beginning in life with the moon in Bharani. But another thing about this deep, profound breakthrough, new beginning, exciting nakshatra is it does have a little harshness associated with it. It just does. Why? Because Yama, the god of death, rules Bharani. And Yama was the first god to take on being a human, being a man, and going through the birth process, and then going through the death process. You see, Yama is the god of death. So this can be some deep stuff. As a matter of fact, people with this nakshatra are so interested in life after death. They want to understand, they want to process, they want to be there, they want to feel, they want to know. This is a powerful placement for the moon. So the last part of Aries, I'm going to say 26 degrees 40 minutes of Aries to the end of the sign, then you would be in Aries, but the nakshatra that your moon is in is Kritika. And Kritika symbol is a knife. It's very sharp, it's very cutting. And Kritika is the protector. So people with a moon in this sign, Aries, in the nakshatra Kritika, because remember Kritika is going to overlap into Taurus as well, but those with the sign Aries in Kritika, I believe are going to be more potent in terms of the cutting force, of cutting through the nonsense. There's no nonsense to be had when you have a moon in Aries in the nakshatra Kritika. You're going to be direct and forceful and cut to the point. No nonsense involved there, but they love to protect other people. And many times they take on the responsibility of protecting others and others' children. They have a strong need to take care of and protect others. It's a beautiful aspect of this particular sign. And remember, everything to do with knives, they may even have an association with, such as a chef, such as a hairstylist, things that cut. That's what this nakshatra is all about. It is very profound. Now, on top of going through all the different nakshatras within this sign to have your moon here, there's also something called the padas. And the padas break this up even more to smaller degrees, 3-degree, 20-minute segments, because each nakshatra is divided up into 4 padas. And these padas are ruled by a planet. This gives another connotation, but it's so subtle. I'm not going to go into the padas nor the divisions of each sign. Each sign is divided up into 9 navamshas. So each sign there'll be a navamsha plus a pada. And this gives even deeper meaning, but the general gist of what you're going to experience is going to be through the energy of the moon being in Aries, which is fiery, inspirational, fast, furious, ambitious, driven, an initiator, a pioneer of new beginnings. But the nakshatras give them even a deeper reference as to what it's all about. Ashwini dealing with the traveler, the depth, the spirituality, the equestrian, and Bharani being the new beginnings and the breakthroughs, the first to do something, the initiator in healing as well. But it's a tough one, because sometimes it's tough, the things that you go through when you have your moon in Bharani. It just is. But then the last one in Kritika, this is going to be a very potent, sharp, powerful nakshatra for for the moon to be in, because it's going to take on this high quality of energy like Mars. But remember that Kritika is ruled by the sun. So this takes on a double whammy of fiery personality with the moon in Aries in the nakshatra Kritika. Kritika is fiery and deep and cutting, to the point, and protective. That's the energy that these individuals will possess. So with that, I think I've covered different elements of and what to expect and how you're going to feel about your world if your moon is in Aries and the nakshatra that it's in. Because remember, the moon in Aries, you feel deeply and powerfully, and you are so expressive because it's of inspiration, and it is the new beginnings that Aries is always about. Just make sure that you look before you jump, because many know that people with a strong sense of this Aries nature may not look before they jump into the pool. Let's make sure what you're jumping into before you initiate any project. They've got to pull back and be a little bit more patient. But they're the ones that get things done. This is a moon in Aries. So with that, I'd like to close. If you would like more information on me, always remember you can go to my website, which is galacticcenter.org. Sign up for my free newsletter. And if you want to learn Vedic astrology, go to my university website, University of Vedic Astrology.com. Thank you.